64 degrees outside at 21 minutes before the 8 o'clock hour. Chris Lenois back with you on the Green Mountain Mornings program, joined by a whole bunch of people here in the studio right now to talk about a really exciting project and an exciting announcement about the project yesterday with some federal funding. Let me just introduce everybody in the room, and everybody a familiar voice here on the program before. We'll start here to my left, Joe Rivers of the Brattleboro Historical Society. Good to see you, sir.
Good morning, Chris.
Appreciate having you on. Sandy Rouse from the Brattleboro Literary Festival. Good to see you, Sandy.
Hi, Chris.
And Lissa Weinmann, and I guess which title do I use for you this morning, Lissa? We'll use Project Director for Peoples, Places, and History of Words in Brattleboro, Vermont project, and that's really kind of what we're talking about today, which is a whole collaboration amongst the three organizations here, or I guess these two organizations coming up with this project, right, Lissa?
Yeah, but there's four organizations that are involved. Marlborough College, the Brattleboro Literary Festival, the Brattleboro Historical Society, and Right Action.
Okay, and it's going to need all these people involved with as ambitious of a project as this is. And some news that people are going to be seeing pretty soon yesterday about some federal grant money from the National Endowment for Humanities. Joe, why don't you talk a little about how this came about, this $150,000 grant for this project? Lissa told me to tell you to answer that question.
Wow, all right. Well, Lissa certainly knows more about it than I do, but I guess I can offer that it's a collaborative effort by many nonprofits in the community. Some folks came to the Historical Society, Lissa and Mary Ide, and presented to us and asked us if we would be interested in joining, and I'm sure they did the same to the other organizations in town. And some of us signed up and were given the opportunity to join it, and we thought it was a great idea. It supports local history. It connects the history of the Brattleboro area to the present and connects to the people who live here and also to those who are going to visit. And so we're very supportive of the idea of this grant and helping the other organizations and supporting them as they move forward with it.
And at your suggestion, we played our installment, as we do every Thursday of This Week in Brattleboro History, about Lucy Prince. And part of the reason why is this project and a particular fundraising campaign for one particular aspect of this project that is going to kind of be the launching point, this piece of content about it, right?
Yeah, I think it's the Downtown Brattleboro Alliance. Is that their name?
Yeah, the Downtown Brattleboro Alliance applied for a National Main Street grant, which was a national competition to create a mobile interactive literary exhibition space dubbed Miles. So it's going to be a mobile unit that is going to be parked on the street and is going to contain a really fun, immersive experience of Lucy Terry Prince, the first African-American poet, through the Brattleboro Literary Festival, which is actually the organization that is creating the whole thing.
Right, and this is the action item today for the listeners out there. There is a fundraising page, ioby.org, IOBY, which stands for In Our Backyard, a nice acronym for that, and people can go there and search out for Miles, the mobile interactive literary exhibition space, downtown Brattleboro, Vermont. The idea is to have this up and running for the Tiny House Festival. Is that the plan?
No, the unit it's designed by Erin Miley O'Keefe, who is a co-founder of the Tiny House Fest, and there's going to be a sort of barn raising kind of, the unit will actually be started to be built at the Tiny House Fest, and then launched 6 weeks later at the Brattleboro Literary Festival, which Sandy can talk about.
Yeah, and absolutely, Sandy, when you're talking about the history of the town and Lucy Prince, poet of renown in this area, I mean, this is perfect for what the Literary Festival is trying to do downtown.
It absolutely is, Chris. And, we've been so amazed by Lucy Terry Prince and her story. Knew about her, but didn't really know the details. And in a time when, I know we have two authors who are coming this year who have books on, one that has a book on slavery in New England, Wendy Warren, and another one, Robert Watson, who has a book on the ghost ship of Brooklyn, which was a ship that was left full of immigrants that they never would allow to land, and both of those happened during the Revolutionary War, in and around that time, and it's really amazing that Lucy was able to obtain her freedom from slavery, married. She became a landowner. She fought a case in court. She wrote this amazing poem when she was only 22, before she got married, when she was still a slave, about witnessing the Native Americans being attacked down in Deerfield. And so it's really, it's such an amazing story that, as an African American, that she got so far in her life and had such a huge influence on people when she was just definitely a minority voice.
Well, and we're fortunate in this community. We were just talking about off the air about the book Mr. and Mrs. Prince by Gretchen Holbrook-Gerzina, a Marlboro College graduate. Right. And actually, when I was at Marlboro, we had her come up and speak about that book and talk about. So a lot of that history, the idea behind this project and what people are going to be able to experience in Miles, the interactive literary exhibition, is kind of like taking some of those stories and other research and kind of giving it a three-dimensional feel to it, from what I understand.
Exactly. Gretchen will be on hand to lecture during the weekend, but we also will have this amazing mobile exhibition space that will feature what we visualized. It was what the inside of Lucy's cabin was like, and sort of recreate the sounds and the images of that time. And so it's going to be full of all kinds of multimedia things and, visuals and audio and all kinds of, amazing stories. And people will be able to tell their own stories. Oh, wow. How they can be, how they've come across this same thing where they made a difference as a small voice.
Well, I mean, everybody talks about now, we have this whole virtual reality phenomenon where people are putting on these glasses, right, and experiencing these other environments. It sounds similar to that, but you're not having to put on this apparatus.
No.
It sounds like you're kind of feeling like
that'd be fun too.
That would be fun too. But is there a blueprint for this? I mean, are there others of these kind of literary exhibits, or maybe in another medium that we're building on here, or is this like really original? I've not heard of this myself, so.
Yeah, we haven't done thorough research about it, but from what we understand, it's pretty unique.
Yeah.
And the great thing is that you can put the unit, it's only about 8 by 14 feet. You can park the unit in a basic parking space. It will be fully ADA accessible. So we don't know exactly where around town you'll be finding Miles in October, but it will be accessible to visitors and natives alike, and contain about 5 people at a time maximum.
Well, the key to the Miles acronym there is mobile, right? I mean,
exactly.
You can put it in a number of different places, bring it anywhere you want to bring it, and obviously reprogram it beyond Lucy Prince and her story. I'm sure that you're seeing, both for the Literary Festival and the Historical Society, Joe, a lot of different ways that this could be useful to your institution.
Yes, that's one of the things that we're excited about, is the cross-fertilization between the organizations, and the idea that we can share resources and share ideas and move forward with those things together during these 3 years of the grant.
So yeah, moving forward requires this fundraising aspect of it, the IOBY.org. Now, you already have some support from Edward Jones.
Right, we got the $2,500 matching grant. Initially, that was before we even heard about the NEH grant just yesterday. So people, if they donate and they're interested in this project, and we all think that they should be,
right,
they'll actually be doubling their contribution. So, up to $2,500 from Edward Jones National, and the local Edward Jones are very much involved. But then beyond that, in terms of the exhibition inside, it will also be eligible for the doubling of the NEH match.
Oh, okay.
So we're getting so much more mileage out of every dollar through the existence of these grants, and I really think it's because people have given this project a very, very strong sort of seal of approval, because it does combine the efforts of so many groups that had been kind of working on their own puts them together to have even greater impact townwide and even beyond.
Yeah, and this fundraising campaign on IOBY.org has just kicked off, so there's at least a month, I think I saw on the website for people to give. Is that about right? 30 some odd days?
Yes.
Yeah, and then this whole project, the bigger part of it, Peoples, Places, and History of the Words in Brattleboro, Vermont. That's a 3-year project, so talk a little about how you see this rolling out in terms of what else you're going to do with it, even beyond this initial launch.
Well, after the first year, there will be times, I'm sure that it will be used, but every year at the festival we're going to roll it out again with a new subject in it, and I can't really say what next year's subject is going to be, but we're looking at Saul Bellow. We're looking at more local literary greats, and there may even be a time we decide to do a mobile, exhibition about the printing history, which is huge.
Yeah, the printing
it's
and
never
publishing
been documented. Most
industry
people
here
don't
in
even
our
know
community.
that.
I'm sure you have a lot of that material on hand at the Historical Society, Joe. And I mean, that's really, I think, what's so exciting about it is being able to bring so much of the local history to life, much like these recorded segments you do with your middle school students, Joe, have done that. And are they going to be involved in this? Is this something that is going to be assigned to some of the students here to get involved with this Miles project?
Well, that's a large part of the grant, the idea that the Wyndham Southeast Supervisory Union, in conjunction with Marlborough College, will move forward with putting together segments, recorded segments for different places within our community, with the idea of sharing the information and the history of those places, and student involvement will certainly be a part of it.
Yeah, place-based learning is that buzzword out there. I mean, this is, if people wonder what exactly that means, this project really is place-based learning. It's really exciting stuff. Obviously, people get a chance to see the structure at the Tiny House Festival on September 3rd. What else do people need to know here before they go to that inourbackyard.org website? Sandy or Lissa, don't fight now. Don't fight over the microphone.
I think that, it'll be unveiled at the Brattleboro Literary Festival, so there'll be more information as we get toward that date. But also important to understand that the end products of the whole grant really would be an audio tours of these different places associated with literary history, publishing history and words, all around Brattleboro and the greater Brattleboro area. So at the end of all of this, the community will have an audio tour that has a web presence, and people will be able to go all around and get a creative experience at these places through the audio work from Joe's students and all of the research that's going to go on through these community research pods that we're going to create. So there's a lot to this grant, and Miles, it's just the beginning, but if people can give us the leg up with contributions starting that, each dollar is going to go a very long way here in our community.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is a Facebook page, Brattleboro Places and Words, where people can track some of this. And of course, the IOBY.org website, where people can make contributions to this. And you'll be seeing news about this grant from the National Endowment for the Humanities, I'm sure, in the local papers. But glad we got to talk about it here first on the Green Mountain Mornings program. I want to thank Joe, Sandy, and Lissa for coming in this morning. Good to see you all. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
All right, more Green Mountain Mornings to come after these messages.